Now let's get you the latest on India and Japan summit. The two nations are set to announce a declaration on economic security, AI, practical cooperation in energy, critical minerals as well as mobility. Japanese Prime Minister is on a 3-day visit to India. Prime Minister Takaichi is holding discussions with Prime Minister Modi at Hyderabad House. She will participate in the 16th India-Japan Annual Summit. And at the summit, the two leaders are expected to review the full spectrum of bilateral ties and exchange views on key regional and global developments. Earlier, she was accorded a ceremonial welcome at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, marching contingents from the Army, Navy and Air Force, accompanied by a military band, presented a guard of honor to the Japanese Prime Minister. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi extended a warm welcome to his Japanese counterpart upon her arrival on Wednesday. In a social media post, Prime Minister Modi said that India is delighted to host Takaichi and he is looking forward to a wide-ranging discussion that will further deepen the India-Japan special strategic and global partnership. Prime Minister Modi also emphasized the broader significance of this partnership, adding that India and Japan will continue working together to advance peace, stability and prosperity across the Indo-Pacific and beyond. Shortly after landing in New Delhi, Takaichi outlined the key priorities for her discussions with the Indian leadership. In a post on X, she said the talks would focus on urgent issues including economic security and energy security, while aiming to deepen the strategic partnership between the two countries in light of the evolving global situation. She also highlighted the importance of promoting mutually complementary cooperation and further strengthening the Japan-India Special Strategic Global Partnership. And now to discuss what this partnership means, we are being joined by Dr. Fabrizio Bozzato from Tokyo. He's a senior research fellow at the Planning and Coordination Department of Sasakawa Peace Foundation. Dr. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's get started with, this is PM Takaichi's first visit to India. It comes at a very crucial time of global uncertainty. So, wanted to understand what is the biggest strategic message that the summit sends to the Indo-Pacific?
Thank you very much for having me. Greetings from Tokyo. I believe that if I had to identify one expression that encapsulates the essence of this summit, it will be economic security. Until recently, economic cooperation between Japan and India focused primarily on trade, investment, and infrastructure development. It's all good, but today, however, the agenda has evolved considerably. Economic security means ensuring that critical industries remain resilient in an increasingly uncertain world. This includes semiconductors, artificial intelligence, critical minerals, clean energy technologies, digital infrastructure, and of course, secure supply chains. They're no longer simply commercial sectors, they have become strategic assets that directly affect national security and economic competitiveness. For Japan, India represents an increasingly important partner in diversifying manufacturing capacity and reducing vulnerabilities in global supply chain. Particularly for India, Japanese investment means advanced technology, industrial expertise, and long-term confidence. In many ways, the two economies are becoming increasingly complementary, as you said.
Right. Dr. Bozzato, you've already pointed out all of the sectors that are going to be in focus. But one key comment that has come from PM Takaichi is that economic security is a key focus of this visit. I wanted to discuss how can India and Japan work together on the sectors that you highlighted, like semiconductors, critical minerals and resilient supply chains. Even stock market gains and corporate earnings have shown proof that Japan has benefited from all of these sectors. How do you think India could become a partner in it?
Well, one of the most interesting aspects of the Japan-India relationship is that its various dimensions reinforce one another. So economic security is, of course, at the core of the relationship or the partnership development. And we should be mindful that it is being described as a comprehensive, strategic, global partnership.
Right.
But
please go ahead. You were saying.
I was saying that, for that to develop successfully, the most important commodity, if you like, if I can call it this way, is trust. Trust has become a very precious commodity in today's very dynamic international environment. So both Japan and India are invested in trust. And from trust comes economic security, development, defense cooperation, technology partnerships, etc.
Right, Dr. Buzzato, you very rightly pointed out that trust is a very precious commodity that both the countries are invested in. But apart from the sectors that we spoke about, the two nations are also discussing talent mobility. How important do you think Indian talent is to Japan's aging economy, and how can this further deepen the people-to-people ties between the two countries?
Well, we have mentioned several areas and sectors, but they are abstractions without people contributing to their development. So, of course, talent exchanges, people-to-people relation, person-to-person relationships like the one between the two prime ministers is fundamental. Japan will have to think very thoroughly its immigration and talent acquisition policy. But I think that accommodation and a solution that is satisfactory for both parties can be found.
Got it. And Dr. Buzzato, this is the first Modi and Takaichi summit. How important do you think leadership chemistry is in this? And do you think the two leaders' political styles align at this point, given the first outcomes that we have seen out of the bilateral meeting? Of course, the meeting is yet to happen, but from what we have seen so far.
Well, we should highlight that this visit builds upon the meeting between Prime Minister Takaichi and Prime Minister Modi during the G7 summit in France just a few weeks ago. So the meeting established a strong political understanding between the two leaders, for sure. So I think that this visit to New Delhi, to India, is about translating that shared vision into concrete policies and practical cooperation. There's no doubt that on many occasions, Prime Minister Takaichi demonstrated a very outgoing and empathic personality, and I think that resounds very well with Prime Minister Modi's own personality and long-standing experience in international relations and country-to-country relations. They are both people. Right. They are both leaders of vision.
Understood. You've rightly pointed out about the strong political understanding between the two nations and the leaders. But speaking of the broader international relations, there are questions about the Quad's future amid mixed signals from Washington. So do you think Tokyo and New Delhi still see the Quad as the anchor of the Indo-Pacific?
I think they do. The Quad sometimes is mistakenly described as an Asian version of NATO, but this is not an accurate characterization. The Quad is a flexible platform that allows four major democracies, Japan, India, Australia, and of course the United States, to coordinate on issues ranging from maritime security and resilient infrastructure, cybersecurity, you name it. So I think that the Quad, of course, cannot exist without Japan and India being pillars of it, but I think that we can describe the two countries and their relationship as Quad synergizers, Quad movers.
Right. Quad synergizers is the word that you have suggested. But two quick questions, Dr. Buzzato, before we let you go. One, how do you think Beijing is viewing this summit between the two countries? And also, lastly, Japan remains the only major foreign partner that's investing heavily in India's northeast region. How strategic is that region today in Japan's Indo-Pacific vision? Just these two quick questions.
Well, Beijing is certainly following very closely the development. And Beijing is the third party at this summit, metaphorically speaking, because we can be sure that the two leaders will be discussing their relationship with China. I think that Beijing will not be very confrontational or about the two leaders meeting, but it will be certainly very preoccupied with what can come in the next decade out of this meeting, because we have to understand that this is a seminal moment in Japan-India relationship. They're going to the next stage.
All right, thank you so much.
And,
yes, please go ahead. Sorry, I thought you...
For this reason, I believe that the partnership will become one of the defining pillars of the Indo-Pacific of the next decade, with or without Beijing's approval. But it's a partnership that used to be mainly economic, and now is becoming grand strategic and political.
Right, so that's the view coming in. Thank you so much, Dr. Bazzato, for joining me today on WION and sharing all of those insights. And we'll keep connecting with you, and let's see what's the real outcome comes out of the summit. Thank you so much for joining.
My pleasure. Thank you again for having me.